Welcome home, brave heroes, and brave Stormcast Eternals alike. I'm Ash, this is AshQuest, and this is Stormvault, the cooperative fantasy adventure board game created by Games Warhammer in 2019, in which a session can take about 45 minutes, is intended for ages 8 and up, and for 2 to 5 players of co-op play. Stormvault is set in the Age of Sigmar. Content may vary from those shown. Why? It is a cooperative game of exploration and adventure in which mighty Stormcast Eternals heroes search for lost artifacts and battle the fearsome champions of chaos. Questing throughout the mortal realms, you must work together to locate the scattered relics known as Gateway Shards, the only means of unlocking the mysterious Whispering Keep and rescuing the arcane treasures stored within. But time is short, and peril lurks in every shadow. You must not fail. This comes with the typical finely detailed Citadel miniatures and 2 sprues of Stormcast Eternals. I believe this game was a Barnes & Noble exclusive, and since it came out around the time Underworlds was getting pushed, it contains push-fit miniatures which are also featured in Warhammer Underworlds, but this is a standalone game, and it has nothing to do with the skirmish combat of Underworlds. We have 2 different Underworlds warbands in here, though, representing the Stormcast Eternals, the Farstriders, and Stormsire's Cursebreakers. The box is kind of a weird size, at least compared to the standards of other Games Workshop releases around this time. Sorry, let's measure the lid, actually, so 11 3/4. It protrudes from my 1x12 shelf, since a 1x12 isn't a true 12 inches. But that's fine, it just makes it easier to grab and pull out. Just a bit silly because I can't stack the games that are of uncommon sizes. We have our typical Welcome to Warhammer, a World of Fantasy games, and I love going through these catalogs. They're just like a time capsule, even if this particular capsule was really not that long ago. Pre-pandemic anymore, feels like 20 years ago. We have our advert for Stormvault, Age of Sigmar, specifically Tempest of Souls, Warhammer 40k, specifically Dark Imperium, Age of Sigmar, Soul Wars, Blackstone Fortress, which came out I think just the year before, the newest Warhammer Underworlds season, Night Vault, which I think was just season 2, and the game of fantasy football, Blood Bowl. We've also got some then current Black Library titles, Hammerhall, and other stories. And finally, White Dwarf. Pulling out the board game's board, the contents did not take kindly to my inverting the box. Our Farstriders are all crossbow users, and that would be these 3 guys here. I love Underworld's miniatures, even if I'm not an Age of Sigmar player, and I really like Underworlds anyway, so I was really happy to put these together, knowing that I was just going to obtain another copy of each at some point in the future, due to the fact that I'm trying to collect every single Underworlds miniature out there, every warband. Some of these miniatures are more accessible than others because they make appearances in multiple games. I particularly love this sculpt because we have our hawk on the shoulder. Then we get our Cursebreakers. Awesome looking units for an awesome warband. There are so many different Stormcast Eternals in Underworlds. I made a very erroneous claim. At the time, I can definitely see why I thought this. I thought that every single warband in Underworlds was a different shade, a different material, even if barely only slightly, to provide some differentiation, but it looks like, even though I do have 2 warbands of Stormcast Eternals that are slightly different shades of blue, I don't think that's by design, really. I think all the Stormcast are just that shade of blue, no matter what. So, a bit of a disclaimer, I got this game new. I've already pre-punched all of the tiles. I put together the miniatures. Oh, this is aggravating. This is absolutely terrible. Why did they not provide any sort of wall here? If these tokens are just gonna fall into the side and get stuck, then this is not a great candy tray design. See, I've even got some stuck tokens here in the corner. Hold on, let's save it. Here we go. I realized that happened because I turned the box upside down. But still, come on, grow up, box. We don't have a lot of tokens with this. The token well here is very deep for no reason. We don't have a whole lot of dice. I'm actually pretty amazed. This might be the Warhammer branded game with the least amount of dice in history. It only comes with 2d6. You can probably find a game that ties with this, although that would be hard to do. But you probably won't find a game that beats it, because it is just unthinkable that Games Workshop would include less than 50 d6 with any of their games. Still, Here they are. We actually have one standard, 1d6, 1 through 6 pips, and the other one, which is our, I'll call it the combat die for now. I'm sure that that's not what it's called, but we have 2 blank faces. We have 3 Stormcast Eternal faces, which do not make an adorable bunny once you turn them upside down. If you do see some sort of shape in this Rorschach test, let me know. And 1 Chaos symbol. Always a fan of the appearance of the Chaos symbol. That's everything in the candy tray, except this is a game about Stormcast Eternals going after monsters of chaos. So we have a few tokens to represent this battle between good and evil. This is one of them. It is double-sided, as all these tokens are. These 4 tokens represent the Chaos champions of various kinds, each one following a different Chaos god. Introductions are not needed. We have the Tzeentch followers here, the Slaanesh here, the Khorne here, and the Nurgle here. Grandpa's loving embrace comes for us all. We have 2 tokens, which 1 and 5 unit increments, and we have that's it. That's all the tokens. For a blessing, the game is very token light. It comes with 6 character cards, which give us our Oswin the Swift, Quain Hawksight, Bran Surebolt, Alia the Stalwart, Uran Trueblade, and Thurnos Brightsoul characters, their names, pictures of the miniatures to go along with the miniature and accompanying paint scheme, should you wish to try to mimic the style, or at least the palette, and boons. For Thurnos Brightsoul, for example, Bane of Tzeentch. Once per turn, during either your Storm Strike step or Hero Activation step, you can defeat a single Tzeentch champion on the same location as your hero without rolling the combat dice. Then for Bran Surebolt, for example, we have Master Tracker. Once per turn, during this hero's quest action, you can pick up a quest card from a location this hero moves on to, as long as there are no Chaos champions on that location. If you do so, you cannot perform an Explore action that turn. I want to do Quain Hawksight here because he has a hawk and it's my favorite mini out of the box. In the Chaos Activation step of your turn, you can draw the top 2 Chaos cards and choose which card will be resolved. Place the other card face down at the bottom of the Chaos deck. This ability cannot be used if there is only 1 card remaining in the Chaos deck. We have 4 cards that represent different Chaos gods. These are Mark of Chaos cards, and they have different bad effects. The Mark of Khorne, for example, when resolving a combat against a Khorne champion, heroes are defeated on a roll of Chaos or a blank face. Mark of Nurgle, when resolving a combat against a Nurgle champion, if you roll a Stormcast on the first roll of the combat dice, roll the dice a second time. If the roll is a Stormcast face, that Nurgle champion is defeated, otherwise nothing happens and that combat is considered resolved. For Slaaneshes, which is different still, whenever you move a Slaanesh champion as a result of a movement instruction, that champion moves 2 pathways instead of just 1, and a hero cannot move off of a location occupied by a Slaanesh champion during their quest action. For Tzeentch, you cannot use the abilities printed on quest cards when at the same location as a Tzeentch champion. In addition, when resolving a combat against a Tzeentch champion, if you roll a blank face with the combat dice, select 1 quest card from your hand and discard it. These rules mean nothing to you at this point, I realize. It's more of a preface, a bit of a preparation for what is to come, before I unveil this board and start placing miniatures. We have our Chaos cards here, and I believe these are the quest cards. And my belief turns to knowledge once I look at the backs. This is a very accessibly priced game. I think it's about $30 or so USD. That price probably ranges depending on store type, but you can get it quite cheaply off of eBay, unless every viewer that watches this video floods eBay in order to obtain a copy for the warband models. If you play Underworlds, you know that the warband models themselves are worth the cost, but you don't get the combat cards. You do, however, kind of have a pathway to homebrew Warhammer Underworlds models into Stormvault once you get a hang of the rules and the differences in stats. Let's look at some of these Chaos cards. Aspiring Champions. New foes. Place a new Chaos champion on the Chaos stronghold in your hero's current realm. Movement. Move all Chaos champions in your hero's current realm. One more. Creeping Corruption. New foes. Place a new Chaos champion. About the same thing, but this is like specific to Nurgle. This is specific to Tzeentch. So I wonder if this kind of plays out like Battle Masters a little bit, in that you just draw the card and that's going to dictate the entirety of the turn. For the AI controlled or PC controlled, except there's not anything electronic here whatsoever. Yeah, that deck should pretty much dictate the entirety of the movement and action phases of the Chaos champions on the board. This would be the quest deck. We have Fate's Mercy quest card. Play at the start of any player's Chaos activation step. That player does not draw a Chaos card. It's strange that they called this a quest card. We have a couple of those, so we have several of the same card in this deck. Misdirection. Play at the start of your hero activation step. Choose a Chaos champion in that same realm as your hero and move that champion along any pathway to an adjacent location. If the Chaos champion moves onto a location occupied by a hero, a combat occurs. We have several other cards as well. Critical Cargo, Vigilant Scouting, Realm Strider, Celestial Boon, Mighty Bulwark, Wrath of the Storm. The brain is already trying to come up with ways to homebrew Underworlds with this. You don't exactly have a lot of Chaos champions in Underworlds. The monsters that they are proposing you are fighting and destroying with your... Oh god, what is this board? What is this? This is the only way we're going to get to play Gravity Land, isn't it? What is this? Okay, hold on, just a second. Just hold it, bear with me. Bear with me. I don't like that. That doesn't fold out logically in the slightest. This is stupid. I want my money back. Worst part about the hobby, diabolical board folds. Well, Ash, they had to fit it into the box somehow. I get that, but did they have to do it this way? If you inverted this, you'd be able to fold it out. You can't do that unless the board is face down, then you have to flip the whole thing over. It's very awkward. Look at this. We actually have our realms of the Age of Sigmar right here. We've got Ulgu, Hish, Giran, Gur, Chamon, Akshi, Shyish. I said half of those wrong. I don't care. But I mean, feel free to gently tell me the pronunciations down below. For a blessing, I can't move this very much. I can't. It's actually the size of my table. For a blessing, we have spots on the board itself for our cards. So we don't need to take anything off the board, it would seem. It would seem that this dictates the entirety of the gameplay space, so as long as you can get the board unfolded, which will take a college degree in and of itself, and place it onto a surface, you'll have your entire playing area sorted. That's pretty cool, but there is some board anatomy that I would like to show you. Oh man, I can't even lift it up because it's bending against its creases. Oh, man. Alright, so we have all these locations. Some of them are probably familiar to you if you are familiar with Age of Sigmar lore. We have a lot of places across the different realms. They're kind of color-coded, but there are gateways or realm gates between some of them. So between the Skybite Mountains and the Jade Wound. I really like that. That's super cool. We've got the Living City, Hammerhall Gira, the Phoenicium. We have this strange lightning bolt place. We have several of those throughout the board. The Desert of Fasting, the Zenithal Plains, where you can give your minis a Zenithal highlight. The Shadow Nexus, the Bat Shriek Depths, the Glim's Forge Depths. I can't show you that one. I would just grab the camera and kind of fly down, but the Ruins of Shadespire down here. That's really cool. See Shadespire, see another location mentioned in a different game, Shadespire. And it looks like we have a space for tokens to go, our Chaos deck, our discarded cards from the Chaos deck. It's the same symbol, just grayed out. And a track on this side with some Stormcast Eternal's faces below the 1 and above the 7, the highest number on the track. What appears to be a spot for our quest cards and a section of the board with just some nice artwork of the Stormcast Eternals. This might be where those tokens go. A section opposite that on the board called the Whispering Keep, Deific Mons and Karstinia. Adjacent to this area, there are spots for 3 tokens. All of this looks really, really cool. Really cool, very lovely presentation. Lots of different pieces of art on here that I really appreciate seeing. Finally, all around the edges of the board, we have these location names, which share the names of the locations that are on the board as spaces. We'll put these here. We'll put these up here. I don't know what we'll do with any of this other stuff yet. And finally, we will read the manual. By the way, normally you'll find like instructions on how to assemble your miniatures on a different document. They are here in the manual. They're just at the very end of it. And these guys were really fun to put together. The warbands from Underworlds could be hit or miss. Some of them are a total pain. But these guys were actually really fun to fit together. They were pretty normal for the most part. I really wanted to show you the contents of the box with the tokens pre-punched and the miniatures on their sprues still, because I was going to do this fun thing where I would drop the sprue onto the table. Who else does that? Hello, my name is Adam and I make tiny nerdy things. That guy, comment down below if you know who I'm talking about. As soon as the materials hit the table, it seamlessly transitions into the thing that it's supposed to become. I was going to do that, and I didn't because I deleted that footage. I went through my camera, I saw all the 1 minute, 2 minute things. I said, those must be failed takes, and I deleted them. That's bad, very bad. I'm admitting my mistake here so that I can feel shame and not do it again. If we work our way backwards from the assembly instructions, we have the quest for the Stormvault, which gives us all of the lore that we need to know to get us hungry and thirsty to serve the Chaos Gods. Oh look, it's Nagash. I mean, spend more money to buy more Age of Sigmar from Games Workshop. That's the same thing. We've got our lore for Sigmar's Chosen here as well. And we have alternate ways to play as well as an achievement board. But let's go to the front of the manual and actually work out what we're supposed to do here. By the way, since this is co-op play and the enemies seem to be completely controlled by deck, at least that's the impression that I'm getting at this point, I don't see any reason why you couldn't just solo this game by double-handing it. One hand of cards for one player, another hand of cards for the second player. If your mind went in the gutter, comment down below. We have our introduction, but the object of the game is to open the Stormvault by placing a gateway shard token on each of the 3 gateways of the Whispering Keep. That is the keep opposite our Stormcast section in the upper right corner of the board. The keep is in the lower left, and that's where the gateway shard tokens must be placed. That's why we have those 3 spaces for tokens. That explains what these guys are. To find these gateway shards, the heroes will need to move around each of the 6 realms of the game board, exploring each location in turn. Stormvault can be played at 3 levels of challenge, depending on how brave, skillful, or foolhardy the players are feeling. Before the game begins, decide which of the 3 challenge levels on the right you will be playing at: Introductory, Standard, or Heroic. And if any of the defeat conditions within occurs, the game immediately ends. You have lost. It is recommended that you play your first game at the introductory challenge level, ensuring all players are familiar with the rules before attempting a higher challenge level. At the introductory challenge level, do not use the Mark of Chaos cards, but in standard and heroic games, these cards detail the rules for the 4 different types of Chaos Champion, representing the unique powers granted to them by their deities. These will apply for the duration of the game. At the introductory level, Chaos Ascendant, the Chaos Champions and their followers have overwhelmed the realm's defenders and ravaged the lands, making the quest for the Stormvault to no avail. The wider war is lost. If there are no remaining cards in the Chaos deck at the end of any turn, you lose. That's the defeat condition. In the standard game, the Chaos Ascendant does apply, as well as a reforging too far. The mystical resurrection of the Stormcast Eternals comes at a price, their noble essence diminishing with each reforging until they become shells of their former selves. If the reforging's tracker reaches 0, you lose, and that would be our tracker on the right side of the board. Godly Supremacy. With the heroic challenge level, Chaos Ascendant and a reforging too far do apply, but without their rivals' deities' followers to keep their ambitions in check, one of the Chaos Gods has overrun the landscape with their fearsome servants. If 6 Chaos Champion tokens of the same type, Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, or Slaanesh, are in play on the board at the same time, you lose. That feels really awesome, and I'm so glad that they actually put those challenge levels in there. It makes the game feel like a complete thing and not just a, will this Age of Sigmar print money? I feel like there are definitely some games that Games Workshop have put out where they just kind of spat the idea out and said, hey, whoever wants to lick that up, feel free, give us $5. I don't know if I would consider Bladeborn to be one of those games. To me, Bladeborn feels like a way to use more of the sprues and kind of test the waters with the Underworld's audience, for example, to see if they would like to roll dice instead of roll combat dice. Bladeborn, Blaine Blood, Beyblade is on my list to get and play and compare it to Underworlds directly because it comes on a hex grid map. But never mind all that. We have our components listing, and then we move on. Oh my god, we don't have enough room to play this, so we have to put these event cards under each one of these locations. That's why they're the size of cards, widths. Okay, well, that's fine. Each location contains one of these 6 realms that make up the game board, each with a Chaos Stronghold at its center. The 6 realms that your heroes will explore are, I read them wrong earlier, or at least I'm sure I did read some of them wrong earlier. Chaos Strongholds? These must be the Chaos Strongholds, right? There's a total of 6 of them. They're not necessarily at their centers, but I don't see any other symbols that would necessarily represent what a stronghold would be, unless these are the strongholds. Well, anyways, this is about to tell me. Each realm is color-coded and has a corresponding realm symbol. Note that whilst the twin realms of Hysh and Ulgu have their own symbol and color, they are treated as a single realm for the purposes of gameplay. Some pathways have a realm gate icon, denoting that the pathways connects one realm to another. In addition, Aesir, the Celestial Realm, is located in the top right of the game board, and the Whispering Keep, within which lies the Stormvault the heroes seek, is located at the bottom left of the game board. Starting with the youngest player, proceeding clockwise around the table, each player takes it in turn to select their hero from the 6 Stormcast Eternals found in the colored plastic frames. These will need to be removed and assembled before your first game. Each player's hero starts in Aesir, Sigmar Celestial Domain. Once you have placed your hero here, take their matching hero card and place it on the table in front of you. Each named location in a realm has a matching name along the outside of the board for the placement of quest cards. Shuffle the quest cards deck, Ash. And without looking at the fronts of the cards, place one card face down under each location name along the outside of the board. Place the Gateway Shard tokens on the undiscovered Gateway Shard space. Wait, what? That's 6. Where's 6? That's here, up in the top left corner. Okay, that's fine. Shuffle the deck of Chaos cards and place it face down in the Chaos deck space. There are spaces on the board for discarded Chaos cards and discarded Quest cards, which is where I put the deck of Quest cards, erroneously. Place the Reforgings token at 8 on the Reforgings tracker, which would be the number above the 7, except there's not a number, there's just a Stormcast Eternal head, unless you're playing an introductory level game, in which case this is not used. Next, you must set up a Chaos champion in each Chaos stronghold. Oh, our diagram for the game board and what a Chaos stronghold is and such is actually here. So yeah, the Chaos stronghold is the one named for the realm. Everything else is considered a location besides. They are joined by lines called pathways. Chaos champions can only move along the arrowed pathways. Now, almost every pathway here is an arrowed pathway, but there are some that Chaos champions cannot move along. So, like here, Chaos champions can't move from or to Plague Spire. The diagram doesn't say what those spaces are called. I guess that's Aesir. This game was supposed to come with a drawstring bag, and my copy, brand new, did not come with a drawstring bag. It's not under the candy tray, it's nowhere. I don't have a drawstring bag with my copy of Stormvault, but it does say to take the champion tokens and put them into the drawstring bag, so I guess just use whatever. Then draw a single token out of the bag for each Chaos stronghold and place that token on the corresponding location, so they'll all just go here. Once there is a Chaos champion on every stronghold, roll the quest dice for each and move the Chaos champion a number of pathways equal to that roll, always following an arrowed pathway. So it does look like these are predetermined routes. The Chaos champions can't just move wherever they want, they have to follow the arrowed pathways. So the Chaos champion that's here, we'll use Zinch. Nerdbird will go to Plague Spire if I roll a 6. Then the Phoenician, and then since this is not an arrowed pathway, they'll go to Hammerhall. They then have no choice but to move here, so they will do so. That's 4 spaces. The 5th space they'll have to move to the Living City because there's no pathway between here and the Reality Sores. And then on the 6th move, they'll go to the Jade Wound. That's really cool, actually. I didn't notice that the arrows formed pathways like that. I like that immensely. It gives you a way to kind of track where they will be and to how or what extent you might be able to mitigate running into them or avoid running into them if you can kind of gamble on the movement. That's probably why we have the D6, or maybe we determine their movement only from drawing the Chaos cards, or perhaps some of the Chaos cards will instruct us to roll dice, but either way, that is really freaking neat. It's simple, I like it. Finally, put all remaining Chaos Champion tokens into the drawstring bag and place the hero point tokens, combat dice, and quest dice within easy reach. You are now ready to play the game. So the sequence of play is Storm Strike, Chaos activation, then Hero activation. Oh, okay. So you would always be kind of planning ahead for the next turn if you thought you might be in the pathway of a particular Chaos Champion. But that's if you're not a brave hero and you're afraid of combat and you're a coward, which no Stormcast Eternal is likely to ever be. Storm Strike. In a burst of lightning, the God King Sigmar sends his finest warriors into the mortal realms. This is a Storm Strike location. That's kind of what I was thinking. Everybody starts in Aesir. So the first thing you're going to do is Storm Strike, and then pow. You can go anywhere you want. So I'm going to go here. Bam. Next is Chaos Activation. The peril escalates as the champions of Chaos hunt down the Stormcast Eternals. And you will skip the Storm Strike step if you've already got your Eternal out here on the board. If you haven't guessed by now, if your Stormcast Eternal dies, they don't actually die. Their soul just goes back to Aesir for reforging. I'm sure that means the reforging tracker would go down by 1, and then you would be able to Storm Strike again in your next turn. Draw the top card from the Chaos deck and follow its instructions in the order they appear. The instructions on Chaos cards fall into 2 categories as described below, new foes and movements. Many Chaos cards cause new Chaos champions to be placed on the board. They are always placed in the Chaos stronghold locations of the realm specified on the card, but which one it is depends on what you draw out of the bag, the non-existent drawstring bag. If a Chaos card instructs you to place a new Chaos champion in a realm and there are already one or more Chaos champions on that realm stronghold, do not place a new Chaos champion in that realm. Interesting, so it's possible for there to be more than one on the stronghold. Then, movement. When instructed to move a Chaos champion, move that champion along the arrowed pathway pointing away from their current location, stopping when they reach the next location. It is possible for multiple Chaos champions to be on the same location. It's like you read my mind. I'm reading you, reading me. If a Chaos card causes more than one Chaos champion to move, the active player decides the order. And if you come to move a Chaos champion, if it's on the same location as a hero, it doesn't move. Instead, combat occurs. Hero activation is split into 3 stages, each named for the action you can take with your hero in that stage: quest, explore, and receive a gift of Sigmar. The stages are completed in that order. The quest action consists of moving your hero and battling against Chaos champions. At the start of your quest action, roll the quest dice. The result of this roll determines how many quest points you have available to spend during this action. Now we're moving away from simple. You can spend quest points to move your hero and initiate combats with Chaos champions. Moving your hero, that's self-explanatory. You're moving along the pathways. A single pathway costs 1 quest point. You can move your hero onto any adjacent locations connected by a pathway. In any direction along a pathway. The arrows don't matter except for the Chaos champions. You can move your hero onto a location occupied by another hero, unless that location is also occupied by one or more Chaos champions. But your hero can never end a quest action on a location occupied by another hero. If your hero moves on to a location with one or more Gateway Shard tokens on it, due to being dropped there by a defeated hero, you can claim any number of these, take the tokens, and place them on your hero card. If your hero moves on to a location occupied by one or more Chaos champions, you must resolve a combat against every Chaos champion in that location. We have a section on initiating combats, but Explore is the next step in your hero activation phase, and you can perform an Explore action if there are no Chaos champions on your hero's location and there is a quest card waiting to be claimed at that location's corresponding point along the board edge. If you choose to do so, pick up that location's quest card and add it to your hand. You may keep your hand of quest cards secret if you wish, or you can show them to the other players at any time. If you pick up a Gateway Shard card, take a Gateway Shard token and place it on your hero card, then place the Gateway Shard card to one side or back into the game box. It's no longer needed in this game. After you have resolved an Explore action, or if you were unable to or chose not to, you may then choose to spend hero points to receive a gift of Sigmar. And that's step 3 of the hero activation phase. A receive a gift of Sigmar action allows you to spend hero points to add 1 randomly determined discarded quest card to your hand. To perform the action, discard 3 points worth of hero tokens you have collected during the game, shuffle the cards in the gift of Sigmar space, then draw the top card and add it to your hand. So in this way, you can receive gifts in the form of buffs and boons available that have already been spent, such as Gateway to Azir, or Wrath of the Storm, or Critical Cargo. You know, all those cards that we've already looked at. That gives the discard pile some function. I really like that, actually. That's cool. Once you're done, your turn ends. Play pass to the next player. For placing Gateway Shards, if you're in the Whispering Keep location, you must stop and immediately place each Gateway Shard token you have onto an empty Gateway space, one at a time, until either they run out of Gateway Shard tokens or all 3 spaces are filled. Each time you place a Gateway Shard token in this way, you receive a value of 5 hero token. After placing all your hero's Gateway Shard tokens, if any Gateway spaces are unoccupied, your hero is moved back to Azir and the Explore stage ends. Wow. When all 3 Gateway spaces are occupied by Gateway Shard tokens, the game ends and you are victorious. Combat is simple enough, it just takes up this box. They're resolved using the combat dice. They can occur at any time during the turn. If they occur during the Chaos activation step, the move, well, we don't have to read that. Alright, rolling the combat dice. When the combat dice is rolled, the following results apply. If the Chaos symbol is rolled, the player's hero is defeated and is moved to Azir. That's all there is to it. I could definitely see some broadening of this mechanic, this expansion. I could definitely see it making sense to bring in some underworld characters. I'm not going to stop thinking about that. You can expect that video in the near future. In addition, a defeated hero with any quest cards must choose one and discard it. Finally, move the Reforgings token 1 space along the Reforging tracker. If a blank face is rolled, nothing happens. If a Stormcast Eternal is rolled, the Chaos champion being rolled for is defeated. Remove that champion's token from the board. In addition, when a Chaos champion is defeated, the player who rolled that combat dice receives a value 1 hero token, which they place face up in front of them. You can trade 5 value 1s for a value 5 at any time. The rest of this manual is just quest card commentaries. and chaos card commentaries, and then the alternate ways to play. That's it. We're back where we started at the end. Randomly selecting starting heroes is an alternative to each player selecting a hero during setup. Sigmar's champion adds an extra level of difficulty, friendly rivalry, to your games by choosing to compete to be crowned Sigmar's champion. If you do, all hero tokens earned by players should be kept face down until the end of the game. If the game ends in a victory, then you add up the total point value of hero tokens received by each player, such as who has the most points. And against all odds. For a shorter game, remove the 6 aspiring champions cards from the chaos deck during setup and place them back at the game box. They won't be used. Note that doing this will significantly increase the challenge level of the game, as the threat of running out of chaos cards and losing the game due to the Chaos Ascendant defeat condition becomes far more likely. Finally, we have achievements, which I think is just really cool to add to a board game of this type. Win your first game on the introductory challenge level. Who are the players and what's the date that you did this? Win your first game on the standard challenge level, heroic challenge. Win the game without having any heroes be reforged. Win the game with every hero. Check off which ones you've won with. Win the game in 2020, 2021, 2022. These are 100% impossible now. Win the game without ever dropping a gateway shard. This is kind of clever though. It's like, keep playing. Years from now, this is how you'll keep. We're gonna put an achievement in there. You could further expand this to be like, who won on Tuesday? Who won on a Wednesday? Who won during Christmas? Who won during the month of March in 2026, 2027? Who won in October? Win the game in 20 minutes or less. Win the game having drawn 2 chaos cards in each chaos activation step. Win the game while on holiday. There it is. Win the game without using the effects on any Gateway to Azir or Fate's Mercy cards. Win the game and claim all 5 Gateway shards. Win the game 20 times. That's insane. That's bonkers. Absolutely nuts. That's Stormvault for you. Again, very accessible in pretty much every version of the word, every meaning. The opposite of complex, and kind of open to a lot more complexity if you want to homebrew it in. You'll have to let me know if you have played this game, if you have made it more complex, if you have any fun memories of it, or did you play it, find it rubbish, and then trash it or sell it. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much, brave heroes, and again, Stormcast Eternals alike. I will see you in the next exciting forging. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Sigmar. Azir for now.